This is Executive Edge. I'm Aman Kaur. Today I'm sitting here with my close friend Lorri Detrick, President and COO Riccobene Dental. You are going to learn about anchored leadership, staying true to her North Star.
My name is Lorri Detrick. I'm the President and Chief Operating Officer at Riccobene Associates. I'm here on the Executive Edge with Dr. Aman Kaur, and I'm excited for you to hear our episode.
Thank you so much, Lorri, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I know you have just gotten here, so I appreciate you making this morning and time for us on your busy day.
Yeah, of course.
So Lorri, with Executive Edge, we want to kind of get to learn the people behind the scenes, not just the COO president who leads the Riccobene great group, constantly growing. You have one of the most respected DSOs, so congratulations first for doing that.
Thank you.
And looking from outside, taking on DSO group, founder-led DSO, with founder's name in it, and now you are practically running it day in, day out, taking it through its major first transaction, all these things. I want to get everyone to get to know the Lorri, the person behind it. So tell me about yourself. At what time in your life you knew you are going to be one day leading a large group like this? Did you even know?
Gosh, that's a great question. I don't know if I knew. I think that it's just evolved over time to where, I am very fortunate to be where I am now. I've always been a very ambitious person, so I guess it's not shocking to me that this is where I am now, but at the same time, I don't know that, 20 years ago I set out to be in this place.
So not even 20 years ago.
I mean, how old do you think I am? Not even 20 years ago. I think, I started my career actually as a social worker. I have a master's degree in social work, and I never intended to even be in business administration or any kind of operations. And so after, I did move into operations in a healthcare setting and did that for about 10 years in a different sector than dentistry. And then I had a dentist founder who really took a risk on me and made me his COO of a small group in California, Access Dental. And at the time, I didn't realize what a gift that was. I just was super excited to move into a different part of healthcare and learn something new and be able to impact people in that setting. And now in hindsight, knowing what I know about the industry, first of all, I was so lucky to get into the DSO space when I did, especially on the operations side and not the clinical side. And to learn from him, he was a great mentor. And then, again, I didn't realize at the time that sometimes working for founder dentists is challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And, he also had like a family-centric business, so a lot of people within his family worked for the company, and that creates its own set of challenges. And so learning all of that, and also he was really interested in not being a part of the operation anymore. So I just didn't realize how much autonomy I had, how much, knowledge I was granted, and just a lot of things. So it was really a blessing. And then moving on to where I am today, I worked for a couple other DSOs in the private equity space and did some consulting, and then came to Riccobene. And again, everything has just built on top of each other to where I really feel that I was prepared, pretty much perfectly suited for this role. I think that had I not had all the experiences that I've had prior, working for someone like Dr. Riccobene would have been really challenging, just because he is a founder dentist and he's very Italian and opinionated and passionate and loud, and and he's an amazing person. But it takes someone who can truly partner with him, and sort of say, I don't agree with you, and let's look at it this way, and do that, back and forth, which I think, again, all that I've learned up to now has put me in a good place to do that.
You have shared so much. So as, 15, 16, when you were young, and you went to social work, and now you are leading companies, private equity backed, which have to transact profitably every now and then. Did you want to be a social worker?
I thought I did.
Okay.
I think
Why did you think?
I think I thought that. Well, first of all, I think as is true for many of us, I was much more an idealist when I was younger, and so I think I kind of wanted to save the world, and I enjoy one-on-one relationships with people, and kind of digging into what's happening, and so I think that was attractive to me about that field. I think what I learned about myself when I was in my 20s and I moved into operations is that, number one, I could not make enough money as a social worker that would be fulfilling to me.
How old were you when you thought that? You knew that area?
Probably like 25.
Wow.
Where I just knew that it wasn't going to be satisfying for me, not because so much of greed, as much as just ambition. That one of the ways that I like to be rewarded is with money, and that's just not a thing in the world of social work. So, and so I think part of it was that, and then part of it was just being given the opportunity to move into an operations role and finding that everything I thought about myself, especially as a girl growing up, that I'm not good at math and I can't do math, and I'll never be able to do this and that and the other thing. None of those things were true, and so learning that in that first operations role that I'm actually really good at those things was impactful. And then I think the last thing I would say on that is that I've really learned as a leader that I'm still a social worker, because for the people who report to me and the people who report to them and all of the people that work in the company, they need to have their basic needs met, and they need to feel cared for. They need to feel like they're here for something bigger. Like all the things that you would work on with someone as a social worker are the same things that we should work on with people as leaders, and provide for people as leaders. So I really don't think that they're that different. It's just that there's this whole other component about accountability and performance and driving to metrics and all the things that are required of an operator. But I love all those things.
It's hard to love these things.
Yeah.
And so what you said is profound. You know what? Something, Lorri, I love about you, and I don't think maybe you know it, you make really good decisions, and you make them, you deliberate, but you also make them quickly. Were you always like that?
Definitely. I've definitely slowed down on my decision making.
Okay.
It's been a challenge and something I've had to work on my whole career, just because I do tend to make quick decisions, and sometimes it's hard for people to kind of keep up and be able to execute properly, because it's like, okay, let's do this, and let's do that, and I think that's true for a lot of us in leadership roles, where it's like, okay, like keep up, like I want to move on, right? And so I've had to become more cognizant of the fact that people need time to adjust to change, and they need to understand what I'm looking for. They need to understand the vision, and that there needs to be some time to let that ruminate. And so I've had to work on that a lot. And I think also, 30 years ago, my decisions were based on my gut. You know what I mean? I made I made decisions based on feelings, which, fortunately, I think I have good intuition, but at the same time, I've also learned throughout my career that I have to balance that out with what the data says, and make more thoughtful decisions, looking at more pieces of information than just what feels right.
Data is good when you're making business decisions, but I feel, and I'm sure you know it too, life is made up of those decisions where there is no data.
Yeah.
And they end up shaping our entire trajectory of our future and who we become. Is there a decision in your life that you feel was the decision that was the best decision you made, or led you to your goals or beyond your dreams? If you were to say, what was that one decision comes to mind?
I think the decision to leave the part of healthcare that I had grown in as an operator and move into dentistry was the most impactful decision of my career. Wow. part of it was opportunistic in the sense that, I applied for something that I really wasn't qualified for, and was able to build a relationship with that gentleman, and he brought me on board. But I think that taking the initiative to say, like, I'm really not happy in this sector of healthcare. It was, I worked in long-term care. It was open 24/7. It was exhausting. It was very draining, just like because of the type of patients and families and staff. And, there's a lot of things about that industry that are really taxing. And although I loved the people in the industry, it was like not good for my family. And so I think just, having the insight and the wherewithal to say, like, this isn't what's going to be long-term right for me at that time was definitely the thing that's had the biggest impact on my overall career.
So, Lorri, I have seen you being very authentic. Like, you're very authentic as a person, and it comes through in your one-on-one interactions. It comes in the way you lead. And it's very hard to be authentic. Everyone says you gotta be your authentic self. And sometimes people think authentic self is put your every freaking emotion out there, but that's not who you are. So you're very, how do I say, tamed in is not the word, but you're very measured and but still very authentic. How do you do this? It's very hard.
Yeah, I think, we talk about core values, and I think one of my personal core values has always kind of been transparency and authenticity. And I think that in the last 15 years or so, one of the words that I would use to describe myself, or what I really firmly believe in, is alignment. And I just think it's so important for people to be able to be the same person, whether they're at home or they're at work or they're out with friends, or, no matter what you're doing in your life, to always just have that alignment that I'm not changing who I am based on my audience. And I think that there's certainly a different level of professionalism required depending on the audience. And that's where I think, I can tame that.
Yeah.
Certainly, when I'm at home with my family, I might not have the same level of professionalism
Yeah,
that I'm going to have at work, but at the same time, I am the same person. And I think I've become that through some hard lessons in life, and I've been very open about sharing those with other people, because I believe that as a leader, it's very lonely and it's very scary to share those parts of yourself that you feel might make you less employable or less attractive as talent or less respected or all of those things. And I certainly understand that fear, but at the same time, every time I have put myself out there and been authentic, I have seen the benefit of that, because it allows other people to do the same.
Yeah.
And it's also just who I am. Like, I don't want to have to be a different person depending on the audience.
Yeah, it's easier to talk about it. But I think you're right, though. It's be yourself, but maybe have different level of professionalism or mannerism, and how we have to present ourselves. What is that one thing that you have shared with your team that makes you the most human, and did it bring them closer to you? Did it make them respect you more or challenge you more? What comes to mind?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll answer the second part of your question first, but at Christmas this year, my team of about 14 people got together, and they all wrote me letters and they basically said, like, we want you to draw one of these in the year when you're having a hard time, like, so to remind you of how much we care about you.
Just give me goosebumps.
Yeah, and of course I didn't do that. I read them all, but then I will do that as I need to through the year. But it was so consistent, the message around that one of the things that they so appreciate about me is my willingness to be who I am with them, and that has really helped them to learn how to be better leaders with their own teams, and how important that is for people to know who you are. And the most impactful thing that I've shared with them is that I'm clean and sober from drugs and alcohol, and I have been for 14 years. But I was a COO of a DSO when I got sober, and it was very scary, and it was very hard because I didn't know what would happen with my employer. I didn't know what would happen to my career, but I did know that I was going to die if I didn't.
Wow.
So I was very unhealthy, and I was very unwell mentally. Like there were, I mean, I was just in the throes of addiction, which is really hard to explain if you haven't been there. But that's, you know, as an aside, one of the things that I really love about Dr. Kessler is that he's so open about that, his own journey in sobriety, and he and I definitely have that in common. But so that's definitely, you know, something that I think helps people to realize that I'm not going to be afraid of who I am. I'm not ashamed of that. It's brought me to who I am today. It's made me a better leader, you know, all of those things. And so, but I do think it, you know, it's just something that's part of who I am. It's a big part of who I am spiritually and who I am, you know, from a psychological, you know, my own mental health. So.
But it is very hard to share. And you did this while you were the COO of a DSO.
I did.
Wow, what a journey. Was it, you know, it's your second founder you're working for, right?
This is actually the third.
Third.
Yeah.
And I've always noticed they end up giving you so much authority, and it's very hard. I've worked with founders, been one myself. It's like giving your baby to someone and trusting them with it. So what do you do to get trust with other people's babies?
Well, I will say that the second one, I did not stay very long because that person wasn't able to do that. And I think that it's hard for founders. It's so hard to hand over their baby, right? And I think that there are a lot of founders out there who say that they're ready to do that, but they're not. And so when I met Dr. Riccobene, I asked him probably more questions than he asked me because I really needed to understand that he was ready. Because I just know that I won't be happy if there's a tug of war.
Yeah.
So I feel like he really was ready, and that makes a huge difference. But also, you know, and also one of the most important things that he and I were vetting each other about was whether or not we were aligned at that core value place. And we really are. We're very different people. We have very different personalities, very different skill sets. But we really, really care about each other and what each other cares about. And so that it allows, I think, for both of us to trust each other. There was a year, probably at least, during the time that I started with him, where my direct reports, the dentists, the office managers, like everybody in the company texted him whenever they were upset about something.
Of course.
And so, you know, I would hear from him, like, so-and-so says this, well, you know, is this what happened? And it took me a little while to trust him that he was going to respond in a way that was supportive of me.
And not undermining you.
Right. And now, you know, people don't, I mean, sometimes he gets a text here and there, but, you know, we've obviously over 5 years made lots of changes, but I think that trusting of each other is something that's built over time. You can't just walk in and expect a founder to trust you. It's not going to happen.
Trust is so earned.
It's definitely earned, and you have to prove it with experience that you're thoughtful and that you're going to consult. You know, I probably consulted with him on every decision I made for the first 6 months because, number one, I wanted to hear what he thought. I also wanted him to understand my thought process.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love about Riccobene as a whole is that we kind of have a mantra in our company that he has been a proponent of, that, you know, we don't really care if you make the wrong decision as long as you thought through it and did it for the right reasons. So, you know, I needed him to understand why I would make the decisions that I made. And there have been many decisions that I've made that he disagrees with, but he understands why I did it. And so he still trusts me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You nailed it. With what you said, being a founder myself, I need to trust the intention. I can deal with an undesirable outcome and will rectify, because most situations can be fixed. But if once you start doubting someone's intentions, then it's not the one you want to pass your baby on to.
Right.
Yeah, because you know, it takes blood, sweat, and tears to start something. Yeah. I think so. Those are the things you have done to earn founders' interest. It's such a good message.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I know you live it.
Yeah, thank you.
Lorri, we talked a lot about how you have been running Riccobene. You went through one of the major big transactions Riccobene has gone through. Everyone says, yes, change is constant. And you do change. I've seen you managing change with the least amount of turbulence, the least I've seen, really. I've seen you also making very big changes, but no one feels it. There's always very less chaos around the change you are making. So tell me, how do you architect those changes? What are the things you put in place to get those done?
Well, first of all, I don't know that everybody on my team would agree with your assessment of the fact that it's not chaotic. I think,
But as long as some agree.
yeah, change is always chaotic. I think, again, like one of the things that's really important as a leader is to surround yourself with people that do things that you can't do, and I won't say that I'm not good at managing change, but at the same time, like I I need people who can really dig in and understand the details of what that means. So, I do have people around me that are very good at that, in terms of understanding what training needs to happen and what meetings need to happen and what collaterals do we need to make, and all the things that come with change, and also being really thoughtful about what to expect and educating me about what my expectations should be. So when I say, we're going to do this thing and we're going to have it done by the end of Q1, and I have people around me who can say, I don't think so. Like maybe end of April, but it's probably not going to be the end of Q1. And so I think that's probably the key to the success of change management for me, is making sure I have the right team around me to actually manage the people in the field who have to feel it the most.
Lorri, what do you do to keep yourself sharp? Like, what do you do? How do you keep yourself so bright?
Well, I have a 12-year-old, so
Okay, that will help.
that helps keep me young. I spend a lot of time relaxing on the beach and being in the sun, and I really value my alone time. I'm a very introverted person, and so I need that time to recharge. I read a lot of books. I'm the type of person that when I am done working, I'm done working. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I want to completely disconnect and be able to just rest. And that is so important. And I mean, for me, I don't think everybody's wired the same way that way, but for me, it's really important to be able to do that. So even if it's just one day a week that I can not open my laptop and I can, really just disconnect, it's super important for me.
Is there a book that you love or go back to? Has there been one ever?
I would say there's a couple people that I go back to, and they're very different. But one would be Peter Drucker, who's kind of a guru in management, in the management world, and then the other would be Brené Brown.
Oh, okay. Yes, I like her a lot too.
Yeah, and she's also a social worker who talks a lot about vulnerability and authenticity, and just really resonates with me.
Okay, great. Have you gotten anything wrong that you are willing to share with us?
Yeah, I'm sure many things.
Like the one you're like, dang, I wish I could go back and fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have a specific example that I can pull out and talk to, but I will say that the ones that are the most painful are when I don't feel like I hired the right person for a position, because number one, it's so disruptive to the organization when you have to recognize that and make another change, and number two, it's so disruptive to that person when they've made this huge change, and that's just, I think, the most painful one. Times that's happened to me many times is when I feel like I thought I was going with the right person, but it just wasn't the right person.
I mean, you're leading thousands of people, large teams, so I'm sure that's going to continue to happen.
Surely, but I'm not hiring them all.
Yes, yeah. So as we are closing this, let's go back to Lorri, who went to social work. Had you have known what you know now, what advice you would have given yourself? Would you have done anything different in how you led your life?
I think I would have told my younger self just to slow down a little bit and not be so stressed about accomplishing all the things, because I was one of those people who, by the age of 30, I was going to have my master's and be married and have my kids. And by the age of 40, I was going to be making this much. And by the age of 50, I just had it all mapped out. And I think that if I had given myself a little bit of permission to just slow down a little bit, I might have known myself better to know the type of career that would be really fulfilling to me, and to make some different decisions. But all that said, I'm also a firm believer that had I made any different choices, I may not be sitting here with you.
Yeah.
So, I definitely don't have regrets from the perspective of I love where I am now. So it's all brought me to a great place. But I was definitely very ambitious, and I was very determined.
You're very silently ambitious and very determined. I've seen you. You started with Women in DSO 5 years ago. You're on a board now. I've seen you participating with AI very progressively. How do you keep making good decisions? Like you're saying here, you're saying slowing down, but I feel you are making more impactful decisions. How do you pack so much punch in whatever you do? You do have a lot of punch in everything you do.
I mean, I guess it's just maybe age
You
and
have a
experience,
secret.
no, I have I don't know what my secret is if I do. It's not a secret that I'm intentionally keeping.
I was hoping to get to that because I feel like you do have this secret sauce. You make very less mistakes.
I don't know. Maybe you just don't hear about them.
I do. No, you're being too kind. But don't you feel that way? Like,
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I do make mistakes, and I feel like
of course you have to. When you're doing so many things, you've got to make mistakes.
There's definitely missteps, and again.
Is there anything you think you have mastered that you would love to share with us that helps you make those good decisions?
I mean, I guess you have to have a level of self-confidence and awareness of what's important. And I think keeping sight of sort of a North Star, whether that be the organizational goals or, core values or whatever that is, depending on the decision, is important. Like if you get too lost in the details, I think it's easy to kind of, lose your way. But I do also think that just, I've had a lot of experiences, good and bad, that have taught me things that I do have to draw on, right? So I think it's probably a combination, but I don't have a secret. Sorry.
No, not. I have to tell you, I'm so excited to have you on the board, and I think it's going to be amazing 5 years. And you're going to work with me to make sure we take this mission to next level and keep us all in straight line. What do you want to accomplish under Women in DSO?
I love Women in DSO because I just love the mission so much. And I think that it's super important to take, the young generations of women that are just coming into the DSO world and help shepherd them into, the roles that you and I have, right? Like, I just think it's so impactful for people to be able to see those career paths and that they're possible. And I think that it's so easy to look at an organization like other industry organizations that exist and feel like those people don't look like me, and to feel disempowered by that. And so I love the fact that, we exist to show a different perspective, and the fact that, one of the things my mom used to say to me all the time is like, Lorri, you can't grow up and have it all. Like, I know you think that you're going to have this great career and you're going to get married and you're going to have kids, but you can't have it all. And I always did not believe that. Like, I can.
And you do.
Yeah. And so, I think it's important to have a place where people can see that they don't have to sacrifice. They can have it all.
Yeah. Please continue to help build this organization where it outlasts all of us, all of our work. Yeah, I'm excited about what we can build together.
Yeah, me too.
And you've led the education committee. It's been amazing to see. I feel we have the best content in the industry. How do you feel about what do you have in mind for education committee for next year's?
Yeah, I think that the education committee still has a lot of runway in terms of impact and being able to really catalog the information and make it accessible as a library and continue to build it and continue to bring in thought leaders from the industry and again, like I think that whether it be the blog committee or either of the subcommittees that's managing the online presence, it's people get so excited when they finally just make the leap and do it.
Yeah.
Because it's so rewarding and they realize they can do it. And I think just continuing to build that population of people who we can showcase is so impactful.
I have to tell you, I'm very grateful again and again. Now, I know you were the leadership award winner, but you're leading Leadership Alum Club to breakouts, and then you're leading the whole committee. You do a lot more than just running your company. You do so much for the industry.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. I feel so good and so fortunate to be sitting next to you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah. So as I want to wrap it up, let's just say everyone forgets everything we talked about. It's like, what do you want them to remember? Someone doing a social work, entering dental industry, or feeling at the crossroads of their career or their life, like you leaving that addiction behind and sharing that so openly and making it your strength. Tell me, what do you want people to leave with?
I mean, that's a good message, I think, to end with from my perspective is, look at the areas of your life where you don't feel alignment and focus on those, right? Like if you don't feel like you're truly able to be who your best self is at work, why is that? Or if you feel like you're not able to be your best self at home, why is that? And what can you do to allow yourself to be that?
Mm-hmm.
Is it health? Is it, being more confident? Is it growing more skills? I mean, what is it to allow you to really meet your own potential?
What you're saying is so bold and so hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard to do. Very hard to fix it. Well, thank you so much. No wonder you're doing so well, because you are a bold leader.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.